know the story right now.
You know, what I've heard from black voters across the 5 boroughs is that the affordability crisis is one that is pushing them out of this city. You know, I was at a church in Harlem not too many months ago where I spoke to the pastor and he asked me to look out on the pews and see how few parishioners were there. And he said it wasn't because they didn't love Harlem or they didn't love the church anymore, it's that they couldn't afford the city. And now those same parishioners who had been worshiping at that church for decades now worship at a church in South Carolina, or they worship at a church in New Jersey or in Connecticut. And we see this too often, where in the last few decades, this city has lost about 200,000 of its black residents. We saw the population of black children and teenagers drop precipitously from 2010 to 2019. And that is a function of the inability of city leadership to reckon with the most pressing crisis at hand, which is ensuring this is a city that everyone can afford. You know, when I've spoken to the older generation of black voters about how affordability is something that has to be applied across the board. It's not just a struggle for tenants, it's also a struggle for homeowners. And when we put forward our vision for making sure that this was a city where homeowners could continue to afford to maintain their home, and our proposal to create an Office of Deed Theft Prevention, I heard from many older black New Yorkers about how they had faced those same kinds of struggles. I mean, since 2015, we've seen about 3,500 incidents of deed theft. And so often it is people preying upon our elders, going to them asking if they need help refinancing or creating a will, and then preying upon that desire for them to be helpful to their family to instead steal that property from them. And what we will do is invest more than $10 million to actually equip this office with the resources it needs to keep homeowners in their homes.
Just know that it was appreciated. I just read about it, but I read so many things right
By making the case everywhere that I am. You know, I was just recently with Assemblymember Khalil Anderson in the Rockaways, going from small business to small business. You know, this morning I spoke at 2 different black churches across Brooklyn. I'm now here with Assemblymember Jordan Wright as we tour through Harlem, and understanding that for many older voters of all races and also black voters above the age of 50, there are names that they have known for years. And I do not begrudge the familiarity that comes with that. I was asking a pastor who had endorsed Andrew Cuomo in the primary many months ago, why? And he told me, I endorsed Mario's son. It was because Mario was good to me. And so I know that I'm running against a name that many have known, and mine is one that they are just starting to know. And my job is to ensure that I make the case everywhere such that we continue to expand this coalition.